All right, welcome everyone. Today we are diving into something that's, well, it's a part of almost every app out there, authentication. We're going to break down how to build a really secure, professional-looking login flow that feels right at home in iOS, all using Swift UI.
So think about it. Your app probably needs to know who your users are, right? Maybe to save their progress or sync their data, or just give them a personalized welcome. But trying to handle usernames and passwords all by yourself? Oh man, that is a huge responsibility. It's like a minefield of security risks. So what's the right way to do it? What's the modern professional approach?
And this really lays out the choice we have to make. On one side, you could try to build the whole thing from scratch. You'd be responsible for all the security, and you'd have to convince users to trust you with their data. Or you could use something like Sign In with Apple. It's already built into the OS, and it handles all the heavy lifting for security, privacy, and trust. Honestly, for most of us building iOS apps today, the choice is kind of obvious.
Okay, so let's focus on Apple's solution. And let's be clear, Sign In with Apple isn't just some fancy button. It's a whole secure service that gives our app exactly what it needs without us having to take on all that risk.
So when a user successfully signs in, the system hands you back a few pieces of info. You might get their name, maybe an email, but the most important thing, the absolute cornerstone of this whole process, is that unique user identifier. That's the magic key. It's how you'll recognize this user every single time, even if your app is totally offline and doesn't have a backend server.
And here is a super important tip. Seriously, this catches so many developers out. That extra info, like the user's name and email, you might only get that the very first time they sign in. After that, it might not be there. So the takeaway is simple. If you need that stuff, you have to grab it and save it on that first login. Don't count on seeing it again.
Okay, you'll also see that the system gives you this thing called an identity token. And that term, well, it can be a little confusing, especially when you're trying to figure out how to keep a user logged in. So what's it for?
Is this the thing that keeps the user logged in? Is it our session? The short answer is nope, not at all. And getting the difference between these two things is absolutely key.
Let's break this down. The identity token from Apple, think of it as a one-time use passport. Its only job is to be sent to your backend server to prove, hey, this login really came from Apple. But a session for our app is totally different. That's what we'll use to remember the user is logged in. So for an app that's just running locally on the device, we can pretty much ignore the identity token. What we really need to do is create our own idea of a session.
So that leads to the next big question. How do we make the login stick? How do we stop the user from having to sign in every single time they open the app? That would be annoying, right? Well, this is where our concept of a session comes in.
And for what we're doing, a session is actually super simple. It's just our app having a memory. It's the app saying, hey, I've seen this user before, they signed in successfully on this phone, so I'm just going to treat them as logged in. That's it. We don't need any complicated server stuff for a local app.
Okay, so if a session is really just about remembering that user ID, well, that leads to a really important question. Where do we actually store it? Where do we put this sensitive piece of data so the app can find it again the next time it starts up?
Now, I know what you might be thinking. A lot of developers, especially when they're just starting out, have this exact thought. I'll just toss it in user defaults. It seems so easy, right? It's right there, it's convenient, but it is a huge mistake.
Yeah, please don't. Just don't do it. Seriously. Putting anything sensitive, like a user ID, in user defaults is a big security no-no. It's just not what that tool was ever designed for.
So, if we can't use user defaults, what's the alternative? Well, thankfully, iOS gives us the perfect tool for the job. It's a dedicated, super secure place meant for exactly this kind of secret data. We are talking about the keychain.
And I love this analogy because it says it all, really. Using user defaults for a user ID is like writing your PIN number on a sticky note and putting it on the fridge. Yeah, it's easy to find, but it's not secure at all. The keychain, on the other hand, that's like a secure bank vault. It's encrypted by the system, and it's built from the ground up to store secrets.
So, this is our secure vault. The keychain is the one and only correct professional place to store that user's ID. It's what's going to let us safely remember their session every time they come back to the app.
All right, let's take a step back. We have our auth method, sign in with Apple. We get what a session means for us, and we know where to store the user ID securely, the keychain. Now let's put all those pieces together and build a really clean, state-driven login flow in Swift UI. So, to keep our code nice and clean, we're going to have three main players. First up is a session store. Think of this as the one and only source of truth for whether the user is logged in or not. Then we'll have a little keychain helper to handle all the nitty-gritty of saving and loading from the keychain. And finally, our root view. Its job is to watch that session store and act like a switchboard, showing either the login screen or the main app.
And what's so cool about this setup is how reactive it is. Check this out. The app launches. The root view immediately tries to read the user ID from the keychain. If it finds one, bam, it updates the session store. And because our main view is watching that store, SwiftUI just automatically redraws the screen, swapping out the login view for the home view. It's instant, no messing around with manual navigation code.
And the real magic here, the whole power of this pattern, is having that single source of truth. Your entire app's UI is just a reflection of one simple piece of state in that session store. Is the user logged in? Show the home screen. Are they logged out? Show the login screen. It makes your code so much more predictable, way easier to debug, and just clean.
So let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. First, for a secure, native login, just use Sign In with Apple. It's the way to go. Second, a session is just your app's way of remembering that login. Third, and I'm going to say it one more time, never use user defaults for secrets. The keychain is your friend. It's your secure vault. And finally, drive your whole UI from a single source of state, like our session store. It'll make your life so much easier.
You know, getting this flow right isn't just about ticking a technical box. It's what unlocks the door to creating really personal, sticky, and trustworthy apps for your users. So the real question I'll leave you with is, now that you know how to do this, what amazing experience are you going to go build?